All right, now we're going to finish our lesson 2 notes. Make sure you have your title in your content page, and the title is going to be Graphs of Proportional Relationships. It is also on top of your paper, so you guys can see that title, write it down in your content page, and then we can move on. First thing, I'm going to write down the I can statement. I can tell when two graphs are of the same proportional relationship, even if the scales are different. The scale we choose when graphing a relationship often depends on what information we want to know. For example, two water tanks are filled at a different constant rate. The relationship between time in minutes T and volume in liters V of tank A is given by V equals 2.2 times T. For tank B, the relationship is V equals 2.75 times T. Earlier, we talked about the strategies when we are reading like a word problems. You can read it 3 times looking for different things. So the first time when you read it, you need to know like what is the background story? What is the situation right here? And this time, our background story is that we have 2 tanks. We have A and B, and they are both being filled up with a different rate. And they gave us minutes using T, and then the liters using V to show the volume. And then second thing we're going to look for is any like numbers that is related to the story right here. And they gave us 2 equations, V equals 2.2T and V equals 2.75T. So now we're able to recognize the information that they are given. Then we're going to go ahead and make sense of it. I went ahead and highlighted a couple of things from this paragraph just to have those like informations to pop out. So you guys can do the same thing, highlight it in different colors or box and circle in different colors. These equations tell us that tank A is being filled at a constant rate of 2.2 liters per minute. Because the 2.2 in the equation is your slope, is your rate of change. So that's what that means. So tank B, the 2.75 is your rate of change. It means that per minute, 2.75 liters of water is going to be filled in that tank. So now we know what do the equations mean, and then we can go ahead and look at some graphs. If we want to use graph to see at what times the 2 tank will have 110 liters of water, then using an axis scale from 0 to 10 isn't very helpful. Okay, so looking at the graph on the left right here, if I want to know 110 liters of water, it is not even on the graph. So looking at this graph, it doesn't help us to answer our questions. If we use the vertical scale that goes to 150 liters, a bit beyond the 110 we are looking for, and a horizontal scale that goes to 100 minutes, we get a much more useful set of axes of answering our question. Okay, so all we need to do is to change the scale of this graph, then we're able to find out the answer that we are looking for. It doesn't necessarily mean you need to make a bigger graph and then just keep going as like 10, 11, 12. You can make these numbers in a different scale. Then we can see like another picture of the same relationship. I highlighted and added some notes on the notes so I can go back and refer to like what is going on right here. So I'm going to explain a little bit. I just highlight the situation right here. We want to use a graph to see how long it's going to take us to have 110 liters of water. So that means our solution is that our vertical scale needs to go to 150 liters, and then our horizontal scale needs to go to 100 minutes. So I wrote down from this graph, we cannot tell 110, right? You can see it on here. Can't find the answer from this graph because it only goes up to 10 liters. Okay. All right, I'm going to move on from here. Now I have a different graph right here. This time, now we can see that the 2 tanks will reach 110 liters 10 minutes apart. Okay, right here, that's the difference right here. So I'm going to go ahead and fill up this page as well, and I'm going to go back and talk about it. Alright, now we can see that the two tanks will reach 110 liters. 110 liters right here. If I follow this line, I will meet my first line at 40 minutes. My second line, it will be at 50 minutes. Okay, so tank B, after 40 minutes, it will have 110 liters. And then for tank A, after 50 minutes, we will have 110 liters. So we can use the graph to see how long it's going to take for us to get 110 liters. So the main idea right here is that it is important to note that both of these graphs are correct. So the one on top and the one on the bottom, these two are both correct. The thing is that but one uses a range of values that helps answer the question. Okay, so because our question is asking for 110, only one of the graphs show us 110. So that's why this one is going to be useful for us. When you guys are creating your own graph, you need to use the scale that is able to show the information that you need. So let's say the question is asking for 300 liters, then this graph is not showing it either. You need the one that with a scale that will hit 300 and you're able to see it. These two right here, even though you're looking at the line, it looks like, oh, they are not the same, but they are showing the same relationship, right? It's just the scale is different, but again, relationship is the same. Okay, make sure you glue this notes in your notebook. You have the title, then you guys can move on and do your practice, and then your 3.2 exit ticket. And that's it for today.